3 years after leaving the country, I arrived at Capital Airport with my twin children. The always cold CEO sent a message, returned? Without hesitation, I lied, no, I'm still in the US, about to go to bed. But in the blink of an eye, he was standing right in front of me, his gaze fixed intently on my 2 kids. Is this why you disappeared? Do you realize I never agreed to the divorce? What you've done is betrayal. I let out a cold laugh and touched the prayer beads on his wrist. You didn't want to have children with me, so I found someone who did. When we got married, Asher promised he loved me deeply. He said he'd do anything for me, except break his vows. But then, his first love returned. She claimed that if she could make Asher break his vows 9 times, I should willingly leave him. I lost that challenge, utterly defeated. After Beatrix returned, she challenged me, suggesting we see who could make Asher break his vows 9 times first. I smirked and wrote down the terms of the bet on the spot. If you win, I'll bow out. But if you lose, I'll make it impossible for you to stay in Beijing City. But only I knew how uncertain I truly felt. In our 3 years of marriage, Asher would do anything I asked, except break his vows. Within a week, he started coming home less frequently. Determined, I put on the new lingerie I bought and walked into his quiet room. I took his hand and guided it down my body. I could feel his breath becoming heavier, his eyes filled with a new desire. But then his phone rang, and he snapped out of it, pushing me away and storming out. He didn't return for 3 hours. I stood there, feeling the warmth drain from my body, unable to think, until Beatrix appeared, flaunting a used strawberry-flavored item, showing me the sticky substance inside. Adeline, this marks the 9th time. I told you, Asher loves me. Why don't you believe it? A bet is a bet. Looking at her smug expression, I thought of how I had just humiliated myself, begging Asher for attention. A wave of dizziness hit me. Why was I degrading myself like this? Before I married, I was the prized daughter of the Beijing circle. Why was I now reduced to competing with Beatrix for a place in bed? Feigning indifference, I took out the signed divorce papers from the bedside drawer. Take it and leave. Beatrix raised an eyebrow in surprise. You confronted Asher? I shrugged nonchalantly. No, Asher said I could decide about the divorce on my own. He's just a man. If you want him, he's yours. But seeing Asher's name on the papers, my heart felt pierced. This was Asher's wedding gift to me. Asher always kept his promises. He stopped my hands from undoing his buttons, saying he had to keep his vows for 3 years and asked me to wait for him. But if I ever grew tired, I could sign my name on the divorce papers anytime, and he would accept my decision. At that time, I was overjoyed, thinking I had him for life. Now I realized how foolish I was. Was he setting me free or just making it easy for him to escape anytime? Beatrix reviewed the papers twice, showing a satisfied smile. Miss Adeline, as decisive as ever. Everyone in Beijing City knows you spent 5 years pursuing Asher. I thought you'd cry. How about this? In a week, when Asher fully leaves his vows behind, I'll give him these papers as a gift. You both won't have to torment each other anymore. I coldly showed her out, but I had to admit Beatrix was right. Keeping someone who doesn't love me by my side for 5 years, if not torture, then what is it? I opened my phone and found the tickets to Iceland for Asher and me next week. Asher doesn't like traveling abroad, but I insisted. Was he thinking how troublesome I was, always asking for so much, when he agreed? I used my finger to cancel Asher's ticket. If that's the case, I'll let him go. This mistake shouldn't continue. Not long after Beatrix left, I went to bed. In a daze, someone lay beside me, wrapping their arm around my waist from behind. I irritably pushed his hand away. Why aren't you in your quiet room? What are you doing here? His breath was warm on my neck, and after a long silence, he asked, why did you cancel the Iceland tickets? My heart grew even more annoyed and frustrated. I replied, can't I just not want to go? While pushing his body away, stay away from me. But when my hand pressed on his chest, Asher let out a muffled groan, as if in great pain. I felt something odd on his chest and lifted his shirt. At that moment, I felt the world spin. A piercing was right on his chest, and next to it, 2 small letters were tattooed, QZ. I didn't know if my eyes were red, just felt like tears were about to overflow, my voice trembling uncontrollably. What is this? Does Asher like Beatrix so much that he'd do anything for her? Back when Asher's parents died, and his relatives took everything, even hiring thugs to bully him, it was me who smashed heads with a beer bottle to ensure he wasn't humiliated. Asher said he wanted to become a monk. I stayed by his side, never forcing him to do anything, loving him with all I had, until he opened his heart and agreed to marry me. How laughable. He wouldn't break his vows for me, but he could pierce his body for another woman, like a pet marked by its owner. If Asher was unwilling, who could force him? Was this their idea of fun? Or did Beatrix want me to see how low Asher could stoop for her? Asher frowned, pulling down his shirt. No need to make a fuss, it's just something strung. If you don't like it, I won't wear it. As for the letters, Adeline, I'll explain them to you later. Then he hesitated and walked out of the bedroom. I'm going to copy Buddhist scriptures, you should sleep early. I noticed his prayer beads had been replaced with a string of white Bodhi beads, not the rosewood beads I climbed thousands of steps to get for him. I gritted my teeth and called the butler. Find out where Asher went today and who he was with, and where his bracelet went. Soon after, a surveillance video was sent to me. In the video, Asher was taking drink after drink from Beatrix's hand, looking utterly drunk. Several friends at the table were amazed. I heard Asher is a Buddhist, doesn't drink a drop. Beatrix, you're quite something. Right, back in school, Asher only treated Beatrix well. Seems her going abroad didn't change a thing. I heard Asher's married now. His wife at home is quite something. Beatrix laughed, holding Asher's hand. If I hadn't gone abroad, how could Adeline have married Asher? And I told Asher not to touch Adeline, and he really didn't. What kind of love is that? Need I say more? My heart took a hard hit. What does Asher take me for? He climbed out of life's muck with my help, yet he faithfully obeyed the so-called true love's command, keeping absurd chastity for her. Beatrix patted Asher's face, waking him from his daze. Throw this bracelet away. I bought you a new one. You can only wear mine from now on. The man seemed hesitant, but under Beatrix's prodding, he took off the bracelet and tossed it on the ground. Perhaps even the heavens couldn't bear it. The moment it hit the ground, the string snapped, beads scattering everywhere. Just like my heart, shattered into pieces. The butler handed me 2 of the beads. Miss, the rest of the beads were taken by cleaning staff. Should I retrieve them? I laughed bitterly. No need. What's the point of retrieving a few beads? Asher, like these prayer beads. Once a treasured jewel I painstakingly sought and held dear, now fallen to the ground, dirted, it's nothing. I ordered Asher's belongings to be packed and sent back to his own home. Asher entered with breakfast, brushing past the movers. Seeing his incense burner, Buddhist scriptures, and meditation mat being carried out, he was bewildered. What's going on? Adeline, are you moving? I gave him a big smile. Yes, I've lived here too long. It's annoying now. Then I glanced at the tray in his hand. A dish of pickles, a bowl of white porridge, and a few slices of bread. Not even an egg. Asher doesn't eat meat, so I've also eaten vegetarian for years. So I grabbed my bag and headed out. You keep it for yourself. Ignoring his surprised look completely, I no longer cared what Asher thought. That night, I gathered with some Beijing Circle sisters at a bar for drinks, also planning to say goodbye. My friends teased me nonstop. Miss Adeline out drinking. Aren't you afraid your precious, fastidious husband will be mad? Yeah, the little princess has been so virtuous since marriage. What changed today? I sneered. Being virtuous should be for someone worthy. Just then, a commotion erupted in a corner of the bar. 2 people were having a drinking contest. Whoever downed 12 cocktails first could take a woman home that night. I ignored his look of surprise entirely. I don't care what Asher thinks now. That evening, I gathered a few friends from the Beijing social circle for a farewell at a bar. My friends teased me relentlessly. Miss Adeline is out drinking. Aren't you worried that your fussy, neat freak husband will get upset? Yeah, the darling of the Beijing circle has been the perfect wife since getting married. What's changed today? I let out a cold laugh. Being faithful should be reserved for someone who deserves it. At that moment, a commotion erupted in the corner of the bar. People were saying that 2 individuals were about to have a drinking contest. Whoever finishes 12 cocktails first gets to take a woman home tonight. My friends went to check it out, but they returned looking troubled. Adeline, you should go see. It's your husband, Asher. I didn't react. I knew I should be surprised that a husband who never drinks would go to such lengths for another woman. But inside, I felt nothing. It was as if my love for Asher had died yesterday. I even led everyone over with a sense of amusement. Let's go watch the spectacle. Asher stood at the long table lined with drinks, visibly shocked to see me. But as soon as he took a step, the bartender reminded him. Sir, leaving now means forfeiting. Are you sure you want to give up? He glanced at me, then at Beatrix, hesitated, and turned away. No forfeiting. Beatrix leaned in, speaking maliciously under the cover of the loud bar music. Adeline, maybe you should try to talk to Asher? After all, you won't be husband and wife much longer. You can still ask him a few more times. But then again, if Asher doesn't listen to you even once, that's pretty sad, isn't it? I ignored Beatrix and just stared at Asher's face. His eyes never met mine, intentionally avoiding me. He kept fiddling with his prayer beads. I know him, it's a sign he's nervous and guilty. The onlookers were moved by his and Beatrix's supposed love. Drinking all 12 would definitely land you in the hospital. This guy must really love his girlfriend. True love indeed, wish them eternal happiness. The veins on Asher's forehead pulsed. He shouted, shut up. Then, turning to me, he whispered, Adeline, I have my reasons. I'll explain everything when we get home. I smiled. I gently reminded him, Asher, you promised to keep your vows for 3 years. Just 3 more days. If you drink this, our agreement means nothing. His expression froze. He was silent for a long time before nodding. Then it means nothing. Let's go home tonight. I'll make it up to you. I knew he meant consummating our marriage, but now, I just wanted to laugh. He finally chose to break his vow for me, after having done everything he shouldn't for another woman. I took off my wedding ring, dropped it into his drink, then turned to leave. But with so many people around, I accidentally knocked over a champagne tower. Countless glasses crashed down. I heard Asher shouting my name, but in the crucial moment, he protected Beatrix instead. Glasses shattered on the ground, and as my vision faded to black, I saw Asher running toward me. I knew he picked me up, his hands trembling. He whispered in my ear over and over that he loved me, but the words made me sick. When I woke, it was 3 days later. My friend said that after I was rushed to the emergency room, Asher stayed outside the whole time, refusing to bandage his own bleeding injuries. They said Asher stayed by my bedside these past few days, doing everything himself, not letting anyone else even wipe my face. They also said Asher prepared a huge banquet hall filled with my favorite cornflowers, though they didn't know what for. I called the butler, take me to the airport. As the car left the hospital, I saw Asher's car arriving. When our cars passed, I rolled up the window. Asher was genuinely happy. He had owed Beatrix 12 wishes, and the drinking contest was the last one. Asher thought he could finally let Beatrix go and wholeheartedly love his wife. But when he entered the hospital room, the bed was empty. Every inch of the sheets was perfectly smooth, with no sign of wrinkles. In that moment, his face showed confusion, doubt, and finally, indescribable panic. Beatrix handed him a document with a bright smile. "Asher, you're finally free. This is the divorce agreement Adeline signed. We can finally be together again."